My name is Ben, aka Downsize It, and I am here for the second to last day of the Lone Star Open in Dallas or Allen, Texas. And I'm very happy to be joined by a very familiar face, I'm sure to most of you. His name is Derek, also known as Karneck, and he is the man behind the YouTube channel Star Wars Armada Explained. So, Derek, thank you for joining me and bringing me this interview.
Absolutely, Ben. I'm always excited to talk to favorites. I've done interviews with other people, so I'm familiar with the back and forth process, especially with just kind of like where I am now in the community. So I'm always happy to talk to community, unique players. I've met a ton of players over the last few days.
Yeah, and same here, and putting a lot of, for me, faces to names that I see online. Actually meeting people that I've always known as their, online handle. Now I can actually know the real name.
Like your buddy, your pal.
Exactly. Right. So I guess just to get started, for people that don't know you, maybe give us a little bit of background on what you do with Armada, maybe when you first got into Armada, and what attracted you to the game, that kind of thing.
Sure, absolutely. So I started Armada like in 2017, and it was between that and like X-Wing, and a couple other games. Mainly just I was getting to the point in my life I was kind of growing out of computer games. Most computer games to me are just super recycled. They're not very interesting and fun. It's like I want to get out and be more social. And what attracted me to Armada compared to other game types is the fact that Armada didn't have defense dice. I hate defense dice with passion because it's like, oh, look at this cool thing I did, but then your random like roll like negated everything I just did. And it's like,
and there's no way to plan for it.
Yeah, there's no way to plan for it.
Yeah.
And so that just really turned me off. And I don't like game mechanics. I appreciate people who do and like enjoy those games, and I played them and have had fun, but just not for me. So I like Armada's unique mechanic of the defensive tokens, but also just like I've never seen anything like the maneuver tool and just kind of like that aspect of gameplay in miniatures. I've never really done the serious miniature play until Armada, and I was like the first one's like, all right, this is what I'm going to dive in on. And plus, I just like Star Wars. That's always the stuff.
Yes, that's the foundation of it.
Yeah, and just like seeing the ISDs and everything. So I got in right as the Architans had released, and was the Pelta. Yeah, the Pelta Architans.
Same way. Yeah.
So that's when I started, and then my first like year and a half, I don't know, I was just some noob scrub that everybody just stomped on until I learned to get better, and ever since then, like I'm definitely not like super best player, but I definitely can throw down and like go competitive lists, like understand like the advanced aspects of Armada. And what got me interested into like rules and stuff was I was so sick of showing up, and this happened to me as a new player. Nothing's more frustrating than almost turned me away. I showed up at one tournament, one store, was told that, oh no, this card interaction you have is played this way. I'm like, oh, okay, well that doesn't seem like how that should play, but all right, you're veteran players, you know. Went to next weekend went to a different store, a different tournament. They're like, no, they're wrong. That's not how that interaction is done. It's this way, and you need to play it this way. I'm like, okay, well that just kind of really is throwing me off because I planned to play this way and now it's different. And so then I show up to a third tournament 2 weeks after that at a different store. No, those other two stores, they're completely wrong. This is actually how you play.
It's completely third interpretation.
Yeah.
Wow.
It just was like, wait, what is it? Like, what is it? Like, oh, FFG hasn't said. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Right.
That there's just no clarification on it. So that's how I got into rules and directions. Like, I'm gonna fucking figure this out. I don't know if I can curse or not.
That's fine.
Okay, that'll be my one. That'll be my one F-bomb. So it's like, I need to figure this out. And that's what got me started into just pestering Paul or Grace Nida on the main Armada Discord. And just being like, yo, like, how does this work? And just pestered him. I pestered Ian Ross on there all the time, and other people just figuring stuff out. And then I kept complaining that FFG needed to make videos and explain stuff. And Dreas Snyder was like, why don't you make them? You're the one complaining about them. So that's how Star Wars Armada Explained started. And it started off with me at first going to like Ian and Dross and confirming things, but eventually as you just get more into it, you understood more, and I didn't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But those explanation videos is really where where I ended up today. I know it's probably a longer answer.
No, that's exactly what I was looking for because I was curious because I didn't know how you would get into something like that. So it's almost like it's a self motivation. I really want to know how this game works.
Yeah. I felt like I couldn't rely on other people to tell.
Right.
So I needed to know for myself.
Well, I can say at least for myself that I'm glad you did that because I utilize not only your channel for my channel when I make rules mistakes or whenever Rob and I have weird interactions, but I've messaged you a lot over the past few months. And you've been very helpful in clearing up some of these weird interactions that
There's always
that maybe just intuitively don't make sense. And I've definitely learned over the past few months through talking to you and also having to be more detailed because I have people in the comments now that can point things out to me when I'm playing my bat reps. It's just to take the time and really read the card interactions. Pay attention. Like you said that when your text back to me, the words matter. The actual wording, did they use this word or this word, and that actually matters in the interaction.
Yeah, and kind of like the context because there are, like with everything, English is hard.
It is.
Even for those of us that
grew up with it.
And sometimes when a card is mentioning something, it doesn't seem like it's anything specific because it's not like highlighted or bolded or underlined or anything. But then actually, you go into the rules, and yes, like this specific wording or phrasing actually has specific interactions that you're not aware of. Very easy to twist things.
Right.
But part of the videos again was like explaining all these details and pointing those things out. And those videos, I've had hundreds of people watch all those videos. Just comment like, "This is great. This is exactly what I was looking for." And I know I've been slacking off a little bit recently. I'm very busy.
Can't imagine why.
Summertime stuff and other real life things that we're going to talk about. And I do plan to get into the more recent content. I just finished the Wave 9, like the core sets.
Oh, excellent. Awesome.
So, like, we got slowly getting there.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you were very pleased whenever the core sets came out and the Clone Wars and Separatist stuff had all these really fun back and forth token shenanigans, card interactions that basically became like Armada, slightly more advanced play, I think, with the Clone Wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, since you're doing all that now with more of like your rules channel and verifications, do you get to play that much anymore?
So where I live, in my town, nobody plays. And not that I have excessively tried to find people to play, but also there really is no game store. We have one, and it's mainly focused on tourists. And so, like, sell it to the tank, ticket the ride, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Not like, they specifically have stated they don't like people who do miniature war games to come in and take up their space. They posted that. They don't like people like that.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that's their mindset. And like I understand, like, when that group comes in and sucks up their very limited table space, it means people coming in wanting to try and play games. There's no spots.
Right,
that is revenue. So I respect that as much as like, man, I just wish that could be more possible. So I have to drive 3 hours one way to go play maybe a game or two with my local area, right? And then drive 3 hours back, most times same day or next day.
That's why it takes a lot more planning to have to schedule a game day. I'm just going to do grab 20 minutes out of my local game store.
Yeah, I only to go stuff on weekends. Luckily, I have a job where I always have weekends off. That makes it easier to at least try to plan for that, or go to like local tournaments. Or almost always on Saturdays.
Yeah. So what is your favorite faction to play then when you do get to play? Do you have a favorite?
Yes, absolutely have a favorite. I always played Imperials. I tried Rebels. Like, not really my play style. Not for me. I like aggressive. It's gotten me killed more often than I can think. But just like, I like aggressiveness. And then, so Separatists are my new main faction right now.
Gotcha.
Just because they're just hyper aggressive. There's just attack. There's no, you have to still have a plan and strategy, but largely they're just focused on just like, how quickly can I kill you?
Right.
It's compared to Imperials, which is still like, you still are attacking, but it's a crafted approach compared to droids, which is just throw more crap at it.
Yeah, it can actually just the overwhelming nature of the Separatists I've just found has been it's surprising. you don't expect it sometimes receiving it.
Yeah.
Because I think I played Separatists maybe once or twice, but just receiving it just catches up. It catches you out of nowhere. It's like, wow. So these 5-part cells just did more damage than I could ever hope to do with my entire fleet.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that, and
it's a finely crafted faction. I'm not saying that Republic or Rebels or Imperials, like they all have their pros and cons.
right, they all have their styles.
Yeah, and it's just kind of finding what fits your mindset and your play style, and then building fleets that I play other factions because part of being competitive in Armada, if you want to be a competitive player, it's not just only playing one faction consistently. You do need to play all factions to understand their strengths and weaknesses and get an idea of how those ships maneuver compared to like how your ships maneuver. And pretty much, if you ever want to be the guy at the World's Golden Trophy, like you play all factions to get that understanding, but then yeah, you pick that one and then you min-max that to the max.
Right.
To win.
It's funny. It's just weird. I like how just the old cliche when it comes to some warfare: know your enemy is the #1 rule of war.
Mm-hmm.
Know the opponent's factions. That way, you're not surprised, and you know what they're capable of.
Correct.
It's something that I'm learning more and more while playing, and it's make me want to actually explore the other factions instead of just staying Imperial only.
Yeah, and experience with your list when you finally do settle on something. Experience with your list is still more important than experience playing like, the 15 hot medalists or whatever.
Right.
Because your own experience and comfortableness playing your list, making less mistakes than your opponent most times is the difference between victory and defeat.
Right.
And we kind of saw that today.
Me personally, every single one of my losses was due to me making some pretty bad mistakes, and then my opponent was able to capitalize on it. They didn't let those mistakes go.
Yeah.
And basically just opened the door. They were able to come in and
they will stomp right in.
Yes.
So again, that your experience with making less mistakes helps with that.
Yeah.
Remembering your timing, the not missing anything, etc. We can go on about that.
Right. So what are your thoughts on the state of play for Armada since 1.5?
I think Armada is in a fantastic location right now. This is definitely compared to how some previous waves were definitely really oppressive that you can only build. Like, you either had max squadrons or no squadrons, but max squadrons would almost always win, and it was just always just like tons of flotillas. And Armada right now, with the new changes of 1.5, has really brought into balance not only the new factions coming in with the old factions, but it has balanced the old factions with the new factions. Like the evade changes.
My favorite.
That's my favorite change.
Yeah.
It makes black die, I'm just going to throw a million black dice at you and then re-roll all of them. Like ordnance experts here down with 2 dice really help. And again, evade being able to use that close range helps not only against that, but against, heavy bomber lists. Mm-hmm. And again, that drop from the unique squadrons, from somebody bringing like 8 unique squadrons with defense tokens and like a maximum of 4 defense tokens, really also speeds up gameplay and encourages you to build lists with just generics. So you don't see max squadrons. I mean, we didn't see at this tournament no max squadrons. And it's because you just can't. Because a 40 to 60 point speed bump is going to stop your 134.
Right.
Long enough that you can swoop in and kill the carriers.
And the change intel was huge for that as well.
Yes.
Really helped.
Yeah.
Because that was one, I just remember, playing, because I like playing with squads and having like combined arms bomber fleets, and all of a sudden Jan drops in the middle.
And then that's it. Like, you can't stop it.
Stop
it's like you either get with that program or you were left behind. And yeah, that's change the grid. I feel like that's how it should have just been started. Right. A lot of players don't have.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that FFG at that because they released that 1.5 update, they listened to player feedback and were able to react. And there's tons of other just little minor changes like the nerfs to Avenger Tavares, the changes to some other certain interactions, and especially like the gunner teams and ECM, which are cards that were just like always auto stapled on everything.
Yeah.
But now you see like local fire control. You now see I saw MC80 with advanced projector.
Yeah.
You see slightly different competitive builds coming out, and that's fantastic. That's what you want to see.
And I think that's just a good I like a game where there's just this list beats everybody, no
Yeah.
matter who runs it. We saw a whole lot of different fleets today, and
No one was the same.
no one was
Other
the
than
same.
Freedom Bot.
Well, yeah. But that was I just like how there's so many different types of lists, and there wasn't any really. I mean, we'll know the standings better than me on how the lists came in, but it didn't seem like there's any one list dominating other than the SSD.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just like an anomaly because nobody was expecting that to happen.
Right.
But for the most part, it was like almost anybody's game.
Yeah.
There's no like that list is gonna win it or that list is gonna win it.
If you at the start of the tournament you said which fleet would you bet money on, I would have bet money on taking on Super. The whole thing would have been a Freedom Bot, B2 list. Like that's who I bet is gonna win. And they didn't come anywhere near top 4, I don't think. So
that's why I love like that's a sound good game design, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that can happen. So one thing I would like to ask on the event specifically, putting together an event like this has got to be insane, organizationally, logistically. So what is behind the scenes on putting something like this together? Working with Frontline, right?
Yeah, Frontline Gaming is who organizes them. So I don't handle any of that. I contracted to work for them. They're the ones that made all the arrangements, get the venue, etc. How I was approached is that I already was running LBO and running LBO with me and Cross.
Okay.
And essentially is I went to LBO in 2019. Wasn't satisfied with with some of the things that were being run there. I'm like, hey, I feel like I can do this better.
Right.
And that's not the knock on the TO who ran it. They organized a great event, but they weren't an Armada player. So there's just some intricacies there that the community, they just appreciate somebody who's part of that community.
And knows the game inside out. And
right. And so that's how I initially was introduced to FLG, for Frontline Gaming. And since then, they're like, hey, we're wanting to expand. They were only doing like 1 or 2 events. Like, we want to run 10 events by next year. So like, not only this, but they've done New Orleans, Atlantic City. They're wanting to expand and put events in like every major region because they have seen that there's a gap with organized play not existing.
Right.
They're like, we want to step up and help out these great games, specifically the Star Wars miniature games, and try to help fill in some of that gap.
That'd be awesome to actually get more venues that are spread out more.
Yeah.
Because one of my biggest deterrences is just travel time. Flying is expensive. I like to drive if I can, so this was reasonable driving distance for me, so it was worth the ability to do so.
And so the next big event is going to be the SoCal Open in October.
Nice.
So
now the LBO, I know that's like the biggest of the big.
That is LBO Las Vegas Open. It's the flagship event, and that's the end of January. That kicks off their season or their gotcha. That was an experience. I'd never been to Vegas before, and it's in a casino, and there's sight sounds, and they do actively encourage you that you can come and just sit at a table and at the convention and play all day. But they really want you to come. They feel it as an experience to come, bring your family, take time off, go explore the area. By the way, Dallas was gorgeous. I've never been to Dallas.
Yep.
But that's how I got involved with Frontline Gaming. That's their plans in the future is more Armada. They're trying to get the word out because they want players to know that they offer great prize support. I mean, I was throwing prize.
Yeah, we got so much prize. That was amazing. I loved it. All the tokens, the dials, the squad markers. It's a quick shout out to Garrett Vance. That was awesome.
Yeah,
all the prize support he provided.
He provided more than his fair share. A lot at his expense, and the rest was financed by myself and other community donations. And that was just because, man, if we're wanting to have these cool events and get players to come out, you gotta have prize support. Right. You just can't show up and be like, oh, I got you a piece of paper. Thanks for coming.
You need a legitimate incentive. You want to come and actually compete.
Yes. Compete for something.
Because
as much as we all say, oh, I just love showing up for the community, we want to walk away.
We want to walk away with something, yes.
Yeah. Something that shows that I went to this and look what I got.
Right.
Yeah.
So, just real quick, let's just do maybe an overview of what the weekend was like. What are your thoughts on the success of the weekend? I know it's not completely over. You've got the Nerf Herder tomorrow.
Right.
But just overall, what are your thoughts on how the weekend went?
I think everything went great. I was hoping for more turnout. I really tried to get my videos and social media out, and we definitely had high expectations. We were definitely hoping for 30, so
Yeah.
we kind of were a little bit let down. And part of that was I've gotten a lot of feedback from this event, and I'll touch on that. Is you know, we were really hoping like more locals because we know that there's a huge Armada presence in this area. And so we were really hoping for dropping that. We still had 20, which is for a first time event has ever run an Armada event. That's not a bad turnout for a first time, especially since we know that. And coincidentally, we're butting up with the Texas Open. It was just like we didn't know they existed. They didn't know we were doing it, and that just kind of that happens. Next year, they've already discussed about making sure there's enough separation between the two events. But in terms of, I was excited who was able to attend. And in terms of play, I didn't have any player issues. Like anything I got called on was mainly just like, we're both uncertain about like what the range is, what the line of sight is. Very, very rarely was it ever like, what's the, like a rules interaction. Like I never see anyone like upset another player. But with such a small player count, it's not too difficult to handle 20 people.
Right.
I'm used to handling up to 100 people. So
wow, by yourself, you by support. Oh my goodness, that doesn't seem feasible or even fun to do.
It can be a lot of work, especially if people are not being patient and understand that yes, I'm by myself. It's always beneficial to have a helper, but sometimes with these events, it's difficult enough to be able to afford having me, inadequately be satisfied being there and wanting to come back and work again. Be able to do that with two people, it's just a little.
Makes sense.
But I mean, reasonably, if Ian Cross can handle 100 people by himself in Worlds, I got to handle 100 people. Similar to that.
I will say I did enjoy the fact that one of my trepidations, this was pretty much, with one minor exception 4 years ago, my first experience competitively with Armada. I prefer more casual play with my friends back home. And one of the, I guess, the stigmas that just, say casual players have towards competitive players is that you might meet or play against unpleasant people that might be, I don't know, I guess jerks or whatever.
Never have experienced that.
And didn't have that at all this weekend.
Not at all.
I was expecting to have at least one, and it never happened. I just observing tables around me, didn't even hear about something like that.
No, you will find that there are definitely hyper competitive players, but they are still the nicest people to you as they are kicking everything.
Right. Yes.
You can be competitive and nice. It does exist, and I've seen other game systems where that does not exist.
Yeah.
Where I'm not here to threaten you.
Yeah.
I'm here to annihilate you. It's like that's not Armada at all. Armada is such a welcoming community, and like, are they individuals like that? Absolutely. But by and large, you can find that we're the most welcoming bunch to just come and play and hang out with.
That's probably the thing I liked most about this. This has basically turned me on to want to try more competitive play.
It's what brought me. It's what gets me keeping going to all these events. Like I love just being more Armada people, just doing stuff like this. And for lessons learned, for this event specifically, I've heard the feedback is we would love to prefer main stuff on a Saturday and Sunday, and not Friday, Saturday. And I've heard it. I hear it. The rationale of why I did a Friday, Saturday, because in the Northwest, we love to have a lazy Sunday to go back home and recover from our hangovers before having to go and work on Monday. But apparently, Texas is like, yeah, we can handle all that, no problem. Like, all right, I've heard you. We'll make sure that next year, Saturday and Sunday is the main event. Friday is a fun. If you could show up and come have fun, great. You can do that. So you've been heard. You can make adjustments for that.
That does make sense, although for me personally, it didn't bother me because I'm used to going to Gen Con, and Gen Con is basically start Thursday through Sunday, but that does make, I guess, more sense.
They attract more locals.
Yeah, it's more local.
It's a local event that they don't have to take a lot of time off or travel. And that makes sense. So you've been heard. We'll plan for it.
Another thing I would just like to ask you about, obviously Director Karneck is a fan. You're a fan of. I love that outfit. But now that you're a Separatist, we have a Grievous or a Dooku outfit to complement Karneck.
I don't know, man. I don't think I can flop 4 arms that expand out and twirl lightsabers.
You don't have prosthetics hanging off like
No,
your
I can't do the trench.
well, while you're trying to do measurements.
Maybe I could do the but I can't grow the beard. That's why I did the Krennic, because I'm just some bureaucrat that actually can't do anything but pretend he can.
Yeah. He tells everybody else what to do.
Are we blind?
Yes, exactly.
Start the round.
Begin. Okay, I said start.
Uh,
Well, let's move on to something outside of Armada. Other than Armada, what tabletop games do you like to play, or board games?
Red Dragon Inn. Love Red Dragon Inn.
I've only played it once a little while ago, but it was a fun time.
Yeah.
Drinking was involved.
Yes. My first experience with Red Dragon Inn was at Nova Open, and just some random tables walking by, like, hey, what you doing? I'm like, nothing. Like, come play Red Dragon Inn tournament. I'm like, never played Red Dragon Inn before. They're like, just jump on into this tournament. I'm like, all right, it's free. And then I played, and I had such a great time that there was an after hours, 21 and over, where they did play a drinking game. Like, it was everyone played at the same time. It was like 40 people. We got roaring drunk. It was
That sounds like a
fun.
blast, actually.
Yes. And by the end of it, were we following any rules listed in the game? Definitely not. But that's part of the charm and the fun for me. And what attracted me to Red Dragon Inn is the fact that it's like a D&D character archetype. Characters hang out in a tavern after an adventure. They're drinking. They're spending their gold, and it really is that initial leap to get in takes a little bit of explanation. But once you're in it and start playing, very easy to pick up.
I found it very intuitive, actually,
Yeah.
when playing. So.
And everyone I've introduced it to loves it. Loves Red Dragon Inn. But that's not really a miniatures game. I really don't play.
Tabletop.
Yeah.
It's one of those games you play with people face to face.
Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
Love, man. That game, though, is just.
Top three. My brother-in-law and my sister, we've been playing that for about a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Just a continuous, like every 3 weeks we
It's a
sit there and
D&D
play.
campaign that you don't have to DM.
Yeah, the DM,
It's
it's
great.
fantastic. And I'm so looking forward to Frosthaven when that, I don't know if you're
Yeah,
back
I
at it or
didn't
not.
back it just because, like, I barely could even play
Like
Gloomhaven.
yeah.
But
Yeah, we're really looking forward to Frosthaven too, and he's done some great work with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
BattleTech.
One of my favorite games. That was actually my first miniatures game was BattleTech.
Yep, me too. If you want to roll dice to find out what your next dice roll means for your next, dice roll, for your next dice roll,
And then find out
and
how
do
to chart.
that 15 times in
Yep,
a row,
yep.
BattleTech
Is for you. Yep.
For me, I just love the stompy robots and, the clan, because I got introduced to BattleTech through the computer game.
Yep, that's Warrior 2 for me. Yeah, yeah.
Warrior 2.
Yeah.
But I do own not the original print, but I do own one of the very first, printed copies of BattleTech.
Oh, nice.
So I have a very
So back in the
old,
80s.
yeah, a
Yeah,
very old
nice.
version, or the old version of it. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying. I got a full box of it.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about BattleTech is that it's been a very steady game rules-wise. They only had nearly
Yep.
one rules update in the 30 some odd year history.
Yeah, I
Back
bought
into
into all those
2000s,
the
into
new
it,
stuff
yeah.
in the new one, and I have a ton of new mechs and things. I just, again, nobody in my area
Right,
really
to play.
plays. Sometimes she can get I will throw down.
Okay.
It always kicks my butt because
So you're a clan player then, it sounds like, or prefer the clans?
I honestly just kind of we'll just sit down and be like, yeah, this stuff is cool. I'll just play with this. I don't do anything like super playing or competitive. I'll just kind of pick up whatever.
Well, not necessarily from a competitive point, but just from a lore point, because I love the BattleTech books.
Oh yeah, I have a clan Ghost Bear.
You have a Ghost Bear?
I got all the Ghost Bear stuff. Yeah, when
Yeah.
I back the.
I love BattleTech lore. It's like, I love Star Wars lore, I love BattleTech lore, just reading it. Anyone interested in playing Wolf is my main faction that I like to play.
Of course.
That's what everybody, But of course, I'm outnumbered. Everyone in my areas, they're all Innisphere players. So basically, whenever we get to play BattleTech, it's they all have, especially all of them versus me. So I bring a big force, and they all have minor forces, and it's all the Innisphere versus the clans. We just basically role play the books basically when we play. So, I guess back to Armada. Something else I wanted to ask you actually was, we get these new Clone Wars ships, which, by the way, I love the models. They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're
The
so
production quality is just exponentially looking so good. And there's been a lot of theory crafting about what other ships do we see or what other ships do we want to see. Just from your own opinion, obviously you can't reveal too much about things, but just what would you like to see? Like a ship from Legends maybe coming back into
Yeah,
canon.
I can definitely like spitball about like this would be cool. Man, I would love to see like Terra cruisers or dreadnoughts.
Yes, the Dreadnought class.
Escort carriers from the TIE Fighter game. Pretty much like look at the TIE Fighter game, the X-Wing.
And then anything in there, let's just bring everything in.
Yeah. I would love to see multi-faction ships. Like, for example, if you were to bring like a bulk carrier, like flotilla ship that it works with all the factions. Maybe you can only like put like a single upgrade card to it.
Right.
No titles or anything, but just something super cheap, basic that everyone could take. And maybe you can only like pick one of them and not like fill out everything.
Right.
Because we don't want to have flotilla wars. Yeah, but that kind of concept of just like neutral faction ships that any faction can take.
And maybe you can upgrade part per faction.
Something like that. Yeah. So, obviously a lot of people were clamoring about the Bartok gunship, getting the Dreadnought. And, as to like what else, I mean, they've done a lot to bring so much into the game already. Especially, I mean, there's a bajillion types of different squadrons and things, and I have no idea. What about the T-wing?
Well, right. Yeah, with squads, I'm actually impressed with how many the variety of squads in Armada.
Yeah.
And as far as ships, I mean, my favorite ship. I mean, I'm a definitely Imperial player. I love the Star Destroyer. It's my favorite ship in Armada. But my favorite ship in Star Wars is actually the Nebula class Star Destroyer from Legends that the New Republic developed.
Oh yeah.
And I would love to see that. And I've seen people do 3D printed models of them, and they just like put on like an assault cruiser base or something. I would love to see that come into play. But I mean, that's a fantasy.
That's a spitball. Yeah, I know they're pretty selective
Yeah.
about what they're able to bring forward.
Yeah.
That is Disney.
It is Disney, yes.
And for otherwise, I would love to just see. Not you don't even have to really like ship expansions. Why not make new ship cards with different upgrades and slots for the current ships?
Oh yeah.
And obviously, you still have to maintain like some gameplay balance. Like you wouldn't want an ISD with engine tanks, for example.
Right now that would.
But you still can make like new ship cards, like different dice allotments, or maybe like a stripped down ISD that's less points but has less dice in its armament.
Maybe an early prototype or something would be kind of interesting.
Things that kind of just models you can bring, but just different chip cards that just help change up gameplay.
It's almost kind of like what they did with the Rebellion the Rim. It's all those alternate squad cards coming out, which was pretty cool.
Those are great.
You already have the models. You just swap out the cardboard.
Yeah.
And you can have something completely new. So.
I think that that's something that would be great for Atomic Mass games to look into, because that was received so well.
That's it. And just the campaign. Just on a side note, I love the Rebellion the Rim campaign.
Rebellion.
It's the favorite thing that we love to play with my local friends group. So
that was for me too. I mean, I had more fun playing that than just about anything else. Yeah. Other like when it really like in tournament mode. But yeah, those are some things. It's like I don't know. I know a lot about Star Wars, but I don't know like all the finer things in terms of balance. And those are definitely some things I would love to see if possible.
Yeah. Well, speaking about Atomic Mass Games, and I know you made an announcement on your channel a couple months ago, but for those that maybe didn't see that, maybe you can give that announcement here, just kind of give everybody an update on what's going on now. With Atomic Mass Games.
Yeah, so I was reached out to by Atomic Mass Games. They're saying, hey, we're interested in talking to you about potentially being hired on as a contractor. And what that means for anyone not fully understanding, I wasn't hired to be not hired to work as an Atomic Mass employee. I'm hired just to do stuff for them. I work for, I don't work as an Atomic Mass employee.
Yeah.
So it just means that a consulting. They ask me questions, or if I find something I like to know about it. They reached out to me and said, we need somebody to help us to understand more of this stuff. And I said, awesome, I'm really interested in that. And they had myself in mind, they had a few other people in mind. Ultimately, they talked to me about, kind of seems like that's what your knowledge is and kind of how a lot recognizable my name was.
Right.
They wanted to proceed with me. And and then helping them start the front end of the new rules form. Not new now; it's out now.
Yeah, for those that don't know, we actually now have official Armada forums with tons of clarifications on.
Yes.
So,
And that was the kind of thing that when they approached me, it's like, we really need help, like, understanding, like, what is flaking on Armada. Because the developers they have, which are, Michael Plumer, Luke Eddy, which they're both fantastic. They've been a blast to conversate with. They have a huge passion for Star Wars, and that was totally communicated to me in our discussion and talks. And they understood that they were being handed something that had a lot of players who just love Armada and love Armada for what it is. And like, okay, we hear you. We want to make sure that we're doing this the best way that we can. So again, they got somebody from the community because they knew that in order to hear the community, they needed somebody from the community.
right.
So being able to talk with them, and being able to express community concerns that played the game for years, and finally have them be like, yeah, you're right. That does seem like that's a concern. We'll look into it. Let's solve this. Like, give us some of your thoughts and opinions. So some people think that I make decisions or that like I control the game, and that's absolutely not the case. I'm a consultant. Again, as I said, like I've seen things from doing Star Wars Armada Explained and creating the Armada reference manual. That's like, yeah, these are some issues that probably should be looked at and taken care of. And I brought that to them and be like, here's the interaction. This is the problem. Here's some suggestions on how to take care of it. But ultimately,
It's up to them.
It's up to them to be like, you know what, we like this idea or we don't like that idea. Or sometimes they'll see something that I didn't even consider because they have access to way more material than I do.
Right.
Like, oh, we're actually going to do this because this is going to help us with something moving into the future.
Right.
And you kind of saw that with the errata for flight controllers. It still works exactly the same, but just how that wording change kind of addressed a few concerns that was identified.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't even know how. I don't understand why that change was made because I don't even understand how someone could exploit the old wording. But I don't, I just couldn't even figure that out. But
it just pretty much boils down to, and without getting super deep, it affects you some timing concern, and that your card potentially could be resolved multiple times because, look, for example, like Ramus and Tilly's and the Tent of the Floor, you can resolve those effects multiple times in that timing window, right?
Yep.
So, because flight controllers also didn't have that same kind of restriction, it was identified that potentially there could be some abuse of the card. So we just changed to, you know what, let's just fix it and move forward knowing that we don't have to worry about that moving forward.
Perfect. And just as an aside for people that don't know, in the bottom of all of my videos now, we'll have a link to the forums. If anybody has questions, just check that out. And I'm sure that, I don't know if it's on your channel or if you have the link anywhere on your channel.
I probably should put more stuff on my channel. I haven't really paid just attention to my channel.
Well, it's not like you haven't been busy organizing a tournament event.
Yeah, and but for the process of working with Atomic Mass Games, it's just great. Again, I want to express like how awesome it's been that the developers took so much time and care and like addressing concerns and problems. I'll say I can't speak about specifically oh, this was the specific interaction with flight controllers that caused that's the kind of stuff I can't talk.
Right.
The process of why we got to the end, I can talk about it's great. I can touch on basic things, but they understand that Armada players are wanting more information. They want to know about the future. They've heard you. They want to talk about it too. They're just not ready yet. Again, they only got the franchise 6, 7, 8 months ago, and they're working up to it. Just please be patient. They've heard you. They know. They want to share more. And they hope that they can share more soon.
Yeah. And things in the corporate world just take time. I've worked in the corporate world myself, and it's the nature of it. Sometimes it just takes time to get involved.
Yeah.
But I can say just personally, I'm glad that you are now part of it, helping out. Because you are such a recognizable name that's been helping us out just on your own. And It's really exciting to know that you're going to be, helping us out in the future with these rules clarifications. That's
Yep.
what,
It is a contracted position. They could decide that, you know what, we feel like we're comfortable enough that maybe you don't, need to have your employees more, and that's, for me, it's just, I'm happy to be part of the experience, regardless of where you can get that experience.
yeah. Well, my last question for you is, where do you see yourself going from here? Maybe, I guess you could say, what's your next thing coming up for Armada? People might be interested in, and then maybe long term, where do you see yourself in a year, 2 years with Armada?
Oh man, I really do hope to see organized play next year and being involved with that, and whether that be judging, playing, or what have you, I would love to just see organized events again.
Yeah.
That's what I would love to see in the future. I would love to be a judge, but again, I'm not again. For AMG, they may want like an official person from their staff who runs that kind of stuff. I don't know. That's not knowledge that I'm privy to. But they do know that I enjoy this kind of work and that I would like to pursue opportunities like that. But continuing to help out local events, like in my area with tournaments, or traveling. I love to travel. There's so many parts of this country I've never been to. I'd like to see, meet new people.
Gives you a good excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess in the end, I would just for terms of AMG, just continue to just be consultant and helping out in that capacity. Because I don't really like helping people, and then continuing to be able to play Armada and buy more of their stuff.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm excited to see where it's going. I'm so stoked that it looks like Armada is. Because in my area, I might have already said this, but I'll just say it again if I repeat myself. Armada was dead in my area, Northwest Arkansas, for 4 years. I was the only player, except for my core group of friends that would play with my stuff whenever we got together. But since Clone Wars has released, I'm seeing it grow, just online, but in my area immediately, just in the last 6 months, seeing more players coming into the game. People are excited about it. So I'm excited to see it continue to grow.
Yeah, they walk in and see those cool models, like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I've seen that too, especially with the new content. Just so many new people I've never seen before, like asking me questions and watching the videos and be like, "Oh man, thank you for this! Like this explains everything." And so I'm really excited to see again when we have the organized play come back, like seeing old people finally able to like get out and meet each other.
And I'm looking forward to this now. I've actually got the book. My main trepidations were basically unfounded. And I actually enjoyed, doing the more high-level competitive play. It was very challenging and exciting.
When you get it's the same thing for me. It's like when you're in that zone where you're just like you're being strategic and your opponent is like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's just like that's just what I love.
It's like an adrenaline rush actually in the moment.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like some other aspects of games where it's like, oh, you did this cool thing, well, let me pull out my bullcrap card of you fell into my trap card, I played my blue eyes white dragon, now I instantly win the game. It's like, what? Like, how do you plan for that?
Right, yeah.
That kind of stuff I've never, it just feels real bad. And Armada just doesn't really have interaction.
It doesn't.
So it just makes it fun.
Yes. Well, like I said, do you have anything else you'd like to say or comment on? Just got an open forum, or?
I do want to thank my heroes. It's still continuing heroes, Ian Cross and Dre's Nida, just because I still talk to them all the time about this stuff. They haven't gone anywhere. There's a few other like judges and other smart people that I discuss things with, just because I'm still only human. I make mistakes or need help making sure that like I'm not going insane and need a sandwich check on things. So thanks to them. Thanks still to the former Final Fantasy. Oh my gosh, Fantasy Flight Games developers. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Yeah.
Again, would like to continue to thank Atomic Mass Games for the opportunity I have being able to have this experience with them, especially again. Luke Eddy and Michael Plumer, they've been awesome. Really excited to see what they come up with for Armada. And thanks to Frontline Gaming for being able to have us here. Otherwise, come to LBO, come to SoCal Open, and enjoy these events until we actually get organized play.
Right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. It's a real treat for me to have you on my channel. that I can let people that watch my channel, maybe that not know you, get to know you, and maybe go over to your channel and
I'll
start
make
checking
sure
out.
that I, post it on my chat.
Oh yes, yeah. We gotta make sure get. Let's go over the fine print we agreed to before we do this. Make sure it's all set up. So, well, again, thank you again for agreeing to do this and for just all the organization you did here for me personally for this weekend. It was really fun. You kept it nice and chill and relaxed. And hopefully I can see you in person in the future. I mean, you've actually got me intrigued for LPO. I'm starting to, because I've heard about it. I've actually been to Vegas before. I love Vegas, so I have an excuse to go there now. And maybe in the future you guys might see some live streams for that next January.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, take it easy.